Welcome to Saxon Math Course 3, Lesson 99, Practice Set. Now, our directions say for questions A through D, describe it as a direct variation or an inverse variation. Now, if we remember our two forms are right here. Now, y over x equals k, two variables dividing each other equaling a constant. That would be a direct variation. Two variables multiplying by each other equaling this, that would be an inverse variation. It fits our equational formats. In fact, these are our equational formats. Looking at these two graphs for C and D, this one is a straight line going through the origin, which means, since it's linear, it goes through the origin. It is a direct variation. This one is nonlinear and does not touch either axis. So this one is an inverse variation. E gives us two tables and says determine if the tables indicate inverse variation. Well, to do that, we find the product. If they have a constant product, multiplication, then they have inverse variation. Now, 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. And 3 times 2 is 6. They do have inverse variation. Here, 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. Notice these are not constant. We have 3, 4, 3. This 4 is different, not inverse variation. Now, it's important to note, just because something doesn't have an inverse variation does not mean it has direct variation. Remember, to check for direct variation, you would have had to make a constant quotient. So you'd have to have 1 divided by 3, 2 divided by 2, 3 divided by 1, and those are also not constant. So this is not a variation that's a direct variation or an inverse variation. This is just a set of points. F says it takes 3 people working an equal rate 5 hours to complete a job. How long would it take 5 people to complete the same job? Well, our two variables are people and time, and then we have a constant. So we're going to multiply our people, 3 times 5, and then that'll give us 15. Then we're going to set up our second situation. This here is situation 1. It's what they describe in the problem. This is situation 2. It's what the problem is asking about, 5 people. Now, 5 people work, they still have to complete the same 15 amount of work. So they need to divide by 5 on both sides, which will give us x equals 3, or 3 hours. G says the volume of an air in a balloon and the air pressure in the balloon are inversely proportional. If the balloon is squeezed to 1/2 of its original volume, by what factor does the air pressure increase? Now I'm going to set up, using the simplest possible numbers, an equation that represents these two things having an inversely proportional relationship. So I'm going to say the volume is 1, and the air pressure is also 1. And 1 times 1 equals 1. So it has a constant product of 1. Now, if I take half of 1, that's a half. Half times x equals 1. To get rid of a half, we need to multiply on both sides by its reciprocal. Remember, the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1, because the 2's will cancel, leaving you with 1 over 1. And that'll give us 1 times 2, which is 2. And that has been the practice set for lesson 99. Alright, remember, do your homework, stay safe, stay inside, and wash your hands.